Well, brothers and sisters, today is the 28th video of the series of videos in connection with the disability ministry and foundation. A foundation dedicated to people who are disabled and crying. The topic for this video is King David treats the disabled Mephibosheth fairly. King David treats the disabled Mephibosheth fairly, and it is found in 2 Samuel 4:4. Let me ask a question. How do we treat people who are disabled? Do we treat them fairly? Do we treat them with respect? Do we treat them honestly? According to the books of Samuel, Mephibosheth was the son of Jonathan, the grandson of King Saul and the father of Mica. From the biblical narratives, we see that Mephibosheth was 5 years old when both his father Jonathan and grandfather Saul died in the Battle of Mount Gilboa. After the death of Saul and Solomon, Mephibosheth's nurse took him and fled in panic. In her haste, the child fell or was dropped while fleeing, and after that he was unable to walk. He therefore became crippled, hence disabled. Jonathan was the eldest son of King Saul, as well as a good friend of David. Jonathan helped David to escape from Saul when Saul wanted to kill him, and he therefore asked him to show kindness to his family. Jonathan and David made covenants before the Lord before going their separate ways. Some years later, the king David became the king of Israel, and he therefore sought out someone of the house of Saul to whom he may show the kindness of God, and Mephibosheth was brought to him. David restored Saul's inheritance to Mephibosheth and permitted him to live within the place in the palace in Jerusalem. Let us look at the ancient world view about disability. In Leviticus 21:16, the disabled were seen as blemish, which means imperfection, deformity, disfigurement, stigmatization, among others. And according to Leviticus 19:14, disabled people were inferior to others and unworthy to offer worship. Therefore, the blind or lame, the injured at foot or injured at hand, the hunchback, the dwarf, or the blind, among others, were all considered disabled, hence blemish, and as such, they must not be allowed to go to the sanctuaries to offer sacrifice because that was profane, dirty, and shameful. This implied that Mephibosheth was profane, dirty, and shameful. Let us look at what actually the word Mephibosheth means. Mephibosheth meant the mouth of shame. It is a Hebrew word meaning the mouth of shame. So simply, his disability makes him profane, dirty, and shameful. And the question is, who wants to associate himself with something that is shameful? But King David did not find the disabled Mephibosheth shameful. Instead, he treated him with respect and dignity, and he invited him to his palace He dined with him, he lived with him, and even shared with him the monarchy. Let us see disability's definition in the modern context. According to the Equality Act 2010, a person is disabled if he has a physical or mental impairment that has a substantial or long-term impact or effect on their ability to do normal day-to-day activities. Let me list some types of disabilities. We have asthma, diabetes, Crohn's diseases, arthritis, liver diseases, cerebral palsy, blindness, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's disease, Down syndrome, HIV, obsessive compulsive disorder, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, spinal bifida, dermatitis, obsessive compulsive disorder, deaf, stroke, chronic fatigue syndrome, schizophrenia, dyslexia, autism, depression, anxiety disorder, cancer, inflammatory bowel diseases, epilepsy, bulimia, dyscalculia, and many more. And looking at these, we see that everybody is disabled, since some of these are age-related. And no matter what everybody is disabled. And why everybody will catch his or hers on their way in life. It is only the mercies of God that sustains us. So, brothers and sisters, let us be like King David and treat the disabled with dignity and respect and give them what belongs to them. King David was not ashamed to have Mephibosheth be with him, eat with him, live with him, to the extent of sharing the monarchy with him in spite of how people saw Mephibosheth. What do we learn from this story? Brothers and sisters, know that disability is not shameful, and that disability has become a blessing that we need to treat with care. Let us all behave like King David. Disability has now invaded into all aspects of the society. It has gone into ministry, politics, academia, fashion, media, entertainment, sports, information technology, and many more. And it is only where we take good care of disability that we can see the good fruits of it. Secondly, sometimes some children are born disabled. This might happen when there are slight delays of oxygen during birth. In some less developed countries where these children are born, they are called river babies and are descriptively taboos. And either the parents secretly kill them or throw them into pits. Some fathers run away from these mothers because of the taboos and the way people make mockery of them. It may therefore makes parents who give birth to disabled children a tool of mockery. And it is as a result of this that I advise parents not to be shameful when they have disabled children, because you do not know the ways of God. Remember that God makes no mistake. I was 10 years old and I was involved in a traffic accident and lost my arm. And there was no hope to survive because I was a hairbreadth from death. The medical authorities, the doctors during the operation asked my parents whether to let me die through mercy killing. because they know why I must live. My parents, my dad, who died shortly through shock after this lorry accident, and my mom stood firm and told the doctors that they still love their son Tom, no matter my condition. By God's power, I survived, and I continue to praise Him. Thirdly, treating the disabled well shows the extent of a country's civilization. Disability can happen to anybody, irrespective of status, wealth, education. Let me make some few examples. Steve Jobs, for example, was a fabulously rich, known man, died. When disability came, he couldn't buy disability with his wealth. When Parkinson's disease attacked Muhammad Ali, a famous boxer, heavyweight boxer, he could not buy the disability with his fame, money, and wealth. There are numerous examples. In a country like Ghana, the president, Dr. Mills, when he was attacked with throat cancer, in spite of being a commander-in-chief of a country's whole system, the wealth, academia, and everything that he had, he couldn't buy it with his fame. So, brothers and sisters, let me tell you, disability can happen to anybody. And when it comes, you cannot buy it with anything. What can we do now? What we can do is every day we sleep and wake up, let us give thanks to God. Let us stop the pride. Because disability, when it comes, you have no way out. It's as a result of this that I entreat all of you to treat people who are disabled with care, love, and dignity. And let me tell you, the extent of a country's civilization is determined by the way they treat people who are disabled. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. This is my 28th video. God richly bless you.